Okay.
For you, Daniel, I think you mentioned something about you don't have a problem with women working and becoming educated. However, I understood it from what you were saying that you felt as though it's detrimental to the family. And I question just because a woman decides to become educated and have a career, how is that a detriment to a family?
Well, if the woman is outside of the home, you have to outsource things like upbringing of children or taking care of babies, like breastfeeding, just raising a toddler. Then when the kids go to school, like they're spending like the modern model of life, what's considered normal of children, like being shipped off to this institution of public schooling or schooling in general. This fundamentally, creates problems for the family structure because people are spending most of their time in the day or in the week with strangers, like non-family members.
Yeah.
And when you do that, then compared to like other societies where this is not the case, family bonds weaken, like because this is a psychological response. Like people tend to have more of a connection and loyalty and love towards people that they spend more of their time with.
Yeah.
So if you spend,
You're jumping to the point to where she's leaving young children. Is it possible for a woman to become educated, have a career once the children are more independent? And let's say she only works while the kids are at school. She is there in the morning. Both mom and dad are there in the morning. Both mom and dad get the kids off to school. They take turns, whatever. Kids are at school. Both parents work. Kids come home from school. Mom's back home, or dad's back home, or both are back home. Could that be a situation that could be not a damaging situation to the family?
well, if our goal is to just strengthen the family as much as possible and to strengthen marriage as much as possible, like what steps would we take in order to do that? And it's really hard for any person, man or woman, to take care of children and then at the end of the day go and work, or like
Life's
that's
hard. I'm hoping we're having a conversation here. I'm not seeing the answer to my question that it is a detriment to the family if a woman decides to have a career.
no, it is a
It
detriment because it's time that she is not spending with her family. It's not easy to maintain a household. It's not easy to have a warm cooked meal every day. It's not, or multiple meals a day. It's not easy to keep the house clean. It's not easy to manage like basic domestic affairs. Like it takes a lot of work.
it takes a team. It takes both mom and dad to do that, right?
Okay,
So
then
is it
who's going
possible?
to, if it's both mom and dad who are doing that,
Yeah,
then who's going
yeah.
to provide for the
They both do.
expenses?
They both do.
Why?
What I'm saying,
Why should they both do that? That's the question.
well, why not? So my point is, with the ability of being flexible, like say the woman who wants to work for her own fulfillment, have a career and work, and feel like she's providing with the family, be on a part-term basis at her career, maybe she has her own business, maybe she works from home. There's a vast variety of applications that someone can do for work and feel good about themselves and still provide and help the family. And it's a family is a family. It's more than just one person doing everything, right?
Can I add something really quickly, Daniel? I think because I agree with Daniel, and I think what Daniel is saying is that if these extracurricular activities that you're taking on, right, for the woman would be, I guess higher education, careers, and things like this, right? You're taking on these things which take away from the duties of the mother at home, right? Because that's typically how it was back in the day, right? The woman stays home, she raises the family, manages the affairs of the house, while the man goes out and provides a living for that family. But I mean, I'm sure married people here know that the women, regardless of which, are like the boss in the house, right? But no, this is, I think, what Daniel is saying very simply. If it takes away from the affairs of the or taking care of the chores of the house, then this is detrimental to the family. You know, the mothers
If
are the ones that normally raise the child, right?
Yeah, however,
Instead
if
of
it does,
having an institution do that for that family.
however, if there is no taking away of that, then I don't see a problem with it. If it can
Well,
be scheduled to where everything flows and everything works out great and there's flexibility, why is there a problem?
so like we can argue in the abstract about what model is better or worse, but when in the debate that I had on this topic, I cited a lot of statistics showing that women's education right now is at the highest levels. Women in careers and in higher levels of careers are at the highest levels ever. Like women are earning more than ever. But things like the psychological happiness, like self-reported happiness, is at the lowest levels historically now. This sociologist, Betsy Stevenson, wrote a landmark paper titled The Paradox of Declining Female Happiness. Like, why is it that we have the highest levels of education and career and women's rights, but women are at the lowest point of their happiness? And even beyond like women themselves and their personal satisfaction, like what about family? Like we see the marriage rates are dropping consistently ever since the sexual revolution. We see divorce rates increasing. We see the higher and higher levels of people who can't even get married. And you have people who are writing now, academics that are saying that marriage is basically like going the way of the dinosaurs. Family size, all kinds of metrics that you can look at when it comes to family happiness and the cohesion of the family, the satisfaction and happiness within marriage. All of those have taken a nosedive. And I argue that this is correlated with things like women's empowerment and women's independence and getting away from traditional gender roles that have worked for humanity for literally thousands of years, regardless of religious background or culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, James, for coming on and asking your questions. We're already over time a little bit, but thank you very, very much for your questions.